'67, you're 19 years of age. I mean, and you obviously don't realise the significance, I suppose, at the time, but you're touring with Jimi Hendrix. What was it like to experience hearing him in a live environment for the first time? What do you remember?
I'm still shocked by it. Up until then was Eric Clapton, Peter Green, Steve Cropper, big fan of Steve Cropper, and Hank Marvin. I'm a big fan of Hank Marvin. And then this guy comes along, and he is the first brick in the wall. No one had ever heard anything like it. I remember at the sound check at the Albert Hall, which was our first big tour, first straight from Cardiff, to being on a bill with the Floyd, the Move, the Nice, Heir Apparent, and Amen Corner. We had 15 or 20 minutes. That was it. But on the sound check, I'm watching this. The Wind Cries Mary. He did, Spanish Castle Magic was another one that he did. He was phenomenal. At the Albert Hall, it was only one show, but every other show we did, 19 or 20 of them, were two shows a night. Unbelievable, that many people on the bill. The Outer Limits would play one number. And then we played, it was before Bend Me, Shape Me, so we weren't the pop group then. We did have Gin House out, and we were a soul group, basically, playing soul numbers. And Jimmy, his girlfriend, Kathy Atchingham, when asked about that tour, and Jimmy, and what he thought, what did Jimmy think of the bands that were on that tour, the Move, etc., the Floyd? And he didn't really pay attention, but he did think that Amen Corner were all right.
He offered a bit of advice, didn't he? Come up and tell you?
Right, because of this club we played, the Speakeasy, which was a late night club frequented by a lot of musicians, certainly McCartney, Roger McGuinn, Hendrix, and he was down one night and he wanted to play. He would get up with most bands, but we were playing, and he wanted to play I Can't Turn You Loose. We're playing soul numbers. So he borrowed Clive's bass, flipped it upside down, and off we went with I Can't Turn You Loose. Maybe a month went by again. He was down there again and asked if he could play the guitar. And again, I've been around now so long, I keep telling my stories over and over. But yeah, he picked the guitar up, and I decided even then that I would play the bass. So Dennis is on drums, I'm playing bass, and Jimmy starts with this style of guitar that I haven't got a clue what's going on. Thinking, what key is he in? Well, I know what key he's in now. It's obvious. I mean, and I started to move around. I thought, well, if I move around, I know it's some note that's in this thing. What's going on? And I thought I was in the groove, and maybe I was in the groove, but I wasn't in the key. And he did come up and tell me, you're in the wrong key. And I did. I kind of looked at him and went, I haven't got a clue what key you're in. He was a lovely man, by the way. He was so mild-mannered, gracious is what I'd say about him and his company. I eventually I was in New York, 1969, and got a phone call to say, Jimmy's in the studios. It's recutting Stone Free. And would I go down and do some backing vocals on that, which I did.
With Roger Chapman.
With Roger Chapman. What a combination. I love Roger too. I've met him since. In fact, I work with him. With Bill Wyman, I work with him. What an odd combination. And thinking, what are we doing there? I walked into the studio not knowing, and it's Roger, and I'm thinking, what are you doing here? And he must have been thinking, well, what are you doing here? So off we went, Stone Free. There's only one version of Stone Free, and it wasn't the recut version.